she's sweet but a psycho, a little bit psycho. At night she's screaming, I'm on my mind.
Hi, Vermillion. I love the Fey Hotel. I love it so much.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so glad.
I haven't started your other one, but I'm so excited to get started. I love this book. And I have to say thank you to Sarah for bringing it to our attention.
Yes.
Because she's the G here. And the Grumpy, which I didn't know was amazing until I got to read this book.
So good.
And I love it so much. Okay, so hello. We always want to know, like the biggest question I get submitted to me all the time is, what is your inspiration? How did this book come about? And so I want to ask you that.
So for the Fey Hotel, I think I came up with like the basis of the plot while I was driving, which is like usually what happens with my books. And I wanted something that was fun for me and something that had like a cozy setting, though I don't write cozy plots at all, but I do like to start off in like a cozy setting. And I'm a big fan of Gilmore Girls and very jealous of Lorelai's job at running those inns. And so I wanted to do something with like a magical inn, and then that's how like the Fae got involved. And then that also helps with like Eldon's character, because he's, you know, that typical like grumpy character, but secretly kind, which I think Luke Danes from Gilmore Girls really is a good example of. And so it's kind of just wanting something like fun and quirky and magical, and then it got a little dark, but you know, we get to a happy ending eventually.
Just a little dark.
A little bit. Yeah, because when everyone gets to the one part with the teeth,
Oh yeah.
Yes.
in the chat in particular was like, oh,
Just casual.
because you're so right. You hit it like that. Gilmore Girls is your inspiration. I love, because I'm obsessed with that show. But that I was like, guys, this is so cozy, and like the cover is so like big adventure and like intense, and I was like, it's so cute. And I was like, oh wait.
Yeah, there's definitely a turning point. And with that scene, I was like, how am I gonna like properly warn people? I can't remember what I went with, but I feel like it was like involuntary tooth extraction or something. Just
Oh,
to give people a heads up.
Oh, the trigger.
that's what Sarah says. I don't do teeth, and I was like, what do you mean you don't do teeth?
No.
Teeth being pulled out of your face. No one does that. But I was like, Vermillion's not going to make them come out. She's going to get the tongs in there, and we're going to be safe. And I was like, no.
That's what I
really
thought too. I thought
appreciated
that
particular
no.
Yeah.
trigger warning,
Right?
because I don't do teeth at all. Like, not even for my kids. My kids lose teeth. No, that is my husband's territory. I couldn't even deal with myself losing teeth as a kid. So I saw that trigger warning and I was like, okay, I'm prepared when I went in for it, because I'd have thrown up if I wasn't prepared.
Kudos to you for even reading the trigger warnings, because I was like blind. But if I read that, I would have known that she wasn't going to stop it. The forge tongs in her mouth. That's quite the picture. Plus, you put like the taste of it and stuff, and I was like, oh, this experience was.
I got my wisdom teeth pulled when I was in the military, so like you're awake when they do it. They just kind of numb you. So that was kind of the inspiration for that.
Oh, that's so mean.
Horrible.
Oh, someone left.
I won't talk about that anymore.
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
Let's move on. Let's talk about how horrible Bain is.
Oh, he's off. That was one of those ones where you're like, he deserves no redemption arc.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I have in my notes. Vermillion, thanks for using the word betwixt.
Yes.
I was like, the thesaurus in this book is awesome. Because I even highlighted betwixt. I just love that freaking word. It's awesome.
I like that word
And
too.
that you put vermilion in it.
Yes.
That you used the word vermilion.
I love that too.
The
Me
betwixt
too.
and the vermilion. I caught it. You did it like at least 2 times.
Yeah.
Put vermilion. Now, at first, I didn't know what it was. I was like, "What is that?" And I had to look. I was like, "It's an actual color."
Did you consciously want to put the word vermilion in your book?
I think when I got to that point, I decided just to use it just to be a little cheeky. But it wasn't like planned. It was just at the moment I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna use it because I think it's funny. It's silly.
Oh, we got it. It is cute. And it was funny.
In the betwixt too.
The betwixt, yeah.
I loved seeing that.
Those are good words. Those are high money words. Betwixt, penultimate, vermilion. These are all great words. They're really good. So I have that. That you got me. But the overall theme all of us wanted to talk about was how grumpy everybody was. That was a big deal. And our chat was just that everyone was so grumpy. And I was like, is Vermilion grumpy? Because you a very convincing grumpy character. So how did you bring real world grumpiness into your book?
So I'm not grumpy at the moment, but like when I was in the Navy, I feel like everyone's grumpy. Especially when you're like deployed because you're trapped on an aircraft carrier with a bunch of people and you don't get to choose who you're trapped with, and your job isn't very fun. So I feel like everyone is just grumpy for months and months and months intensely. So I think that really helped be convincingly grumpy.
Do you have any grumpy experiences that you brought to the book?
I'm sure I did.
Because I want to ask you about your pettiness, because the pettiness are amazing. The naked pasta might be an inside joke for us forever.
It was great.
I don't know. I think I had fun with Eldon's like group of friends because I know how he reacts to stuff, and I know they would just take advantage of that all the time, just trying to like rile him up to get his reactions. So I just kind of let me be, a little silly to kind of lighten the mood. And I think it makes his character more likable too, seeing him have to deal with like his silly friends and the pranks they play.
And that he goes along with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, also. And that he's like kind of good-hearted about it. And that they're so different than him, but they've had this found family was like the most magical part of the book, I think.
Yeah.
That
was a lot of fun.
That was fabulous. And that you could also see Avalon like blending in with that family pretty easily, because she would get on his nerves and he would just kind of know how to handle it.
Yeah.
Especially, gosh, my favorite scene might be when he's pretending to be hurt. And she knows and he knows and they do nothing about it.
Oh, yeah. I
But
had to like remember. It's been a while since I read through it. Yeah.
that he was like trying to climb the stairs and she's so much shorter, and it's like this comical like height difference trying to get up the stairs where he's like trying to lean on her, and you could just see him like it's that famous painting where he's like in half.
Yeah. And she's definitely a character that's like used to taking care of people, so she would be like trying her best, but like in reality like doing nothing.
Just kind of Eldon when you think about it. He's trying his best. He's not really doing much. Which is also heartwarming for him.
Mm-hmm.
That and his intense love for his dog.
Oh,
Like, whenever you have a cute side character and an animal that loves a character, you know that's a good character. So, like, from the beginning, I already loved him so much.
I would not have been able to handle it if he had died. Like,
Yeah,
I would have been like, no, I can't.
Especially right after the teeth.
Right.
Yeah.
He gave us a break.
I do put, that's like a spoiler I put in like the content warning, like animals will be like in tough situations, but they'll survive. Because like for me, I don't like reading or watching anything where anything permanent happens to animals.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Which was another cool aspect. Like, I thought the magical cultures part, I didn't feel like I had to learn them. I felt like it was just part of the world, and it was just there, and you were like, absolutely, there's a magic tree, and that makes total sense. And there's magic doors, yeah, and you just kind of roll with how you introduced these pieces. So they weren't so over the top that I couldn't really understand. I needed a lot of info. It just was like, yeah. And so the whole setting of the book was so easy and so fun and so engaging that now I really want to know more about the witches. And I really want to follow their journey because they seem cool.
They seem real cool.
Right? And I feel like that something is coming back. Like that, the digging moment, not to spoil things. Right? I don't know, Vermillion. It felt when the...
Oh, you mean at the end with the axe?
Yes.
Yes, Mary, with the axe.
You said digging. That doesn't say axe to me.
In case it kind of came out.
Spoiler.
I feel like you set up the next Stephen King novel.
Yeah, right? There's this bloodthirsty axe with a mind of its own.
Yes.
Buried in the woods like Jumanji. Yeah. It started to make me think, like, what if there were bloodthirsty other things? There's like bloodthirsty rolling pin. What if you can imbue magic into anything? And I was like, that would be really funny. But I also am really curious about this axe. This bloodthirsty axe that everyone wants to get a hold of is just casually buried in the dirt by a group of witches. Feels ominous. No?
Well, the Fey Hotel is a standalone, so it's...
Does it have to be?
I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
But the next book, The Academy of Dead, is about new characters, new plot, new setting. There is another weapon forged by Eldon's mother in it. That I think is kind of cool, but it's entirely different. But you get cameos from characters from the Fey Hotel.
Oh.
It's so good.
Thanks, Sarah. Keep rubbing it in our face. So what was your inspiration for the dagger? Because I love the dagger. One of my favorite weapons of all time. Was it a driving inspiration? You're just driving and you're like, that makes sense.
It might have been. I can't remember. Sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, it was something like comes up. I'm like, oh, that works perfectly. And I don't remember like where it came from. So I remember when I wrote in the dagger, I was like, okay, yeah, this will become handy later. But I don't remember.
It'll become handy later.
So I do like a rough outline for the plot, but I leave a lot of room to kind of see where the characters are going to go. And so I wanted to include more of Eldon's mother's like weapons. And so I wrote that dagger in, and then it came in handy later. I do a lot of like, I'm like, oh, this is cool, this is magical, this is interesting. And then at the end, I'm trying to make it all make sense and be useful.
That is the most interesting way I've ever heard somebody plot.
Because
that is like a huge plot.
Plotting and quilting at the same time.
Yes.
I do like quilting.
Yeah.
Are you a quilter?
I know like all the major scenes, but it's like getting from like A to B to C is where I'm not entirely sure. But I know where all the major plot points are happening.
And so you kind of just you write it. So you have major plot. You're like a mix of like a pantser and a plotter, in which you plot major things and then just kind of.
Yeah, I try to write in order, but big scenes that are really emotional, I feel like there's like better times for me to write them when I'm like feeling like very emotional. So I'll write like the big emotional scenes out of order, and sometimes I'll have to rewrite them or change them a little bit. But yeah, I most try and write in order except for like the big emotional stuff, and then I just try to piece my way back to there.
That's so interesting to me because I feel like it should be like in my mind it would be linear, but you're almost like in a movie, like the films, they do all the emotional stuff because it fits that tone for that day, and then they do the happy cozy stuff on another day because that fits another tone. And I feel like that is so creative how you're able to weave them all together and have them all make sense despite the fact that they're more fragmented. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like genius stuff, right?
Yeah.
How?
Sometimes it works out. With the Fey Hotel, it worked out, but with the Academy of Dead, I wrote ahead really early on, and I didn't use. I don't think I used any of those scenes. I ended up just rewriting them all in order.
Oh wow.
Like all these alternate universe chapters that are just like in a file somewhere that didn't get used.
Just turn it into a multiverse. Like, here's an alternate universe of what could have happened.
My mind went to deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my hands on deleted scenes. Because I tell you what, I didn't want the Fey Hotel to end. And I definitely got to like 75% and had to pace myself. Because I love the romance of it so much. Because you pegged all my favorite manly tropes together into one person. And then you put all of my favorite things about all the female characters I've ever read into one person and then you had them kiss. And so it was magical to me in that book, especially because it's humorous. Like, it's funny. It's serious, but it doesn't take itself super seriously. Like, it's like all the right blend of stuff. And to know that you didn't do that intentionally is blowing my baby brain. For sure. Because I feel like
For the Fey Hotel, when I finished, I was definitely like very sad that it was done. And I did write like some short stories and stuff, which are in the hardcover, but they're also, if you go on my website, I have like all my newsletters I've ever sent are there. And then some of the deleted scenes and like extra short stories you can read them in the newsletter. But yeah, there's like another epilogue that's longer, and then there's Odell as a short story. There's a silly short story with like Eldon and the Abernathy patriarch, and then there's like a little silly, cute, just deleted snowball fight scene.
Oh, that's fun.
I do kind of want Alden to get his mom's powers. I thought that was happening, but that didn't happen. But it kind of that was cool.
Makes sense.
Well, I love the whole story with his mom, like that she's like so intense, and she can imbue things with her powers is beyond cool. And how he's this tough exterior, but a softy cinnamon roll inside is incredibly endearing and perfect. I still like. I feel like I sized Avalon up in my brain because you would check me every few chapters and be like, "No, she's actually very short. Like, actually very tiny." Because she would be like to hear on him for me and visually, and then you're like, and she saw his chest, and I was like, "Oh, jeez."
I think she's like 5'7", but her sister is very tall, and Eldon is even taller. So she's a little self-conscious about her height. She doesn't like having to look up at people, but she's not like super tiny. She's just been living with a very tall person, and now she has to deal with another tall person, and it's like a personality flaw that it irks her that she has to look up to people all the time.
Well, I would like to know how much of you had to write into Avalon, because she felt like a completely real person. The way she was self-deprecating, the way she had her fears, the way she had her hesitations were all things I could identify with immediately. And so how much of you is in her?
Well,
None.
I also have a little sister, so her like protectiveness over her sister was probably like the biggest part of me that she has. And then she has like anxiety, and I have that as well. But she's a lot feistier than I am. So she's fun to write. But I think mostly like her protectiveness is probably her biggest part that's from me.
Which I really loved their dynamic. I thought that was really special. And that you added, now I'm going to say it the way I know not everyone does, but we can call it tinnitus or tinnitus. But that you added the tinnitus, I think was really, really unique and really interesting. And especially to have had no other characters besides Eldon kind of catch on to that as well. Spoke a lot to his personality, and I thought it was really fabulous. Does anyone know people who have suffered with this affliction? Because it was represented very well in the book.
So my husband does have it.
Ah.
And Laura, what were you
Is it
saying?
tinnitus? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I have it. So it
My
was
husband has
really
it too, for me.
reading about it was like I could tell that you weren't like just writing randomly about it. Like you had experience with it yourself or with somebody you knew. So it was really cool to read about. I appreciated that.
Thank you.
Little representative.
I was going to say that's kind of one of the downsides. Like, I was in the military, so I know we worked with a lot of loud machinery. So a lot of my friends and my husband have it. And there's, times when I'd be working and I would like hear it ringing, and I'd be like, "Oh, did I just damage my ears, pest?" Because you can't do anything about it. It's frustrating.
Yeah. Well, it was represented really well, and I thought it was an added layer that was really, really great. And it made so much sense when it came to her sister and how much she was willing to sacrifice to protect her, and that protectiveness really translated well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know are you an avid reader? So
Yes.
as far as writing and the particular romance of these two grumpy characters that lean on each other in unexpected ways, is that your favorite romance trope? Is that your favorite kind of romance story to read, and that's why you wrote it?
I really do like the grumpy character that's secretly super nice. I do like that trope. I guess my favorite pairing would either be they're both grumpy or the woman is grumpy. I think those are my favorite pairings. I'm trying to think of another grumpy example, but I can't think of one at the top of my head.
Neither can I. They're not done very often.
Mm-hmm.
Which all of us are grumpy. So now we finally represent it. Like, I can identify with her so much. These are all my inside thoughts out loud.
All the time.
Right?
As a grumpy who married another grumpy, it was beautiful. I loved it.
Like a love story.
Yeah.
I mean, we are a grumpy sunshine duo for sure, but my inside thoughts are very grumpy. So to have them out loud, I was like, Vermillion must be grumpy, or she got somebody grumpy, because this is really well done. There's some experience in this. So we also had a running joke that we really love that Eldon is so technologically inept, and that this grumpy old man in a hot Fey man body, and it's hilarious. And we wanted to know, does he type with his pointer fingers?
Probably. Well, he has to. I feel like he tries to avoid it.
But I love
So
that he only used security. That's it.
Yeah, I think everything else he would just pass off to everyone else for anything to do with technology.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on just a second.
I loved with the technology stuff that he was just so inept inept about it, but that she like wanted to fix it. She was just like, go away, let me do it. It was just a great dynamic there. I loved it.
We actually had some questions about the lake. That in the lake there's like a tentacle monster.
Yeah, what was that about?
Oh, so that was, it wasn't a tentacle, it was the vines that show up later. That was like a preview of them, like a hint that something had been planted, something wasn't right.
Okay, because I remember them calling them tentacles, and then they figured out they were vines. But it was like the Harry Potter squid in the lake in my brain. I was like, don't go near the lake, and they were always by the lake. I was like, don't go by the lake. But thank you for clarifying. They were they thought they were the tentacles, but they were the vines. Okay. That is all the questions I really had about the book myself, or that I had noticed were kind of submitted. I know Sarah had a question that she came to us with this afternoon about what your favorite children or teenage books were. What was it? Your favorite reads in your teenage years?
Yeah, just what was your favorite books, reading coming up through like YA, your teen sort of comfort, inspirational books?
So I really loved Tamora Pierce, and she has a couple series. They're fantasy with like a little bit of romance, and she has the Elena series and the Kel series, and the setup is like where a girl is pretending to be a boy so she could be a knight, and I loved that when I was a kid. I like read them to death.
I love it.
I haven't ever heard of them, but I feel like that would have been right up my alley as a kid. Anything magic, forget it. It was my favorite. But
yeah, she does a lot of like 4-book series, but they're all set in the same world. So some of them follow like knights, and some of them follow like mages, and there's quite a lot.
That's so fun.
That's one of those things that, is that just me, or is that like the 90s childhood experience was like every book we had like 40 sequels? It was like the Box of Children, and those like Percy Jackson even had like 1,000 books, and like you didn't have like a 2-book series when you were a kid. They were all like huge anthologies for these characters. I'm trying to remember. Nancy Drew was before my time, but I love Nancy Drew. Thank you, Holly. Nancy, like 112 books or something like that. It's
Babysitter's Club.
Babysitter's Club. What's the other one? Boxcar Children? Did I say that? The Magic Tree House? What was the one where the animals are like morphing?
Oh,
Animorphs.
Also, Goosebumps.
Yeah.
There was always like 100,000.
There's
like
this one, it's like it's made for children, but it's called Rainbow Magic, and it's like a bunch of different fairies, and like there's like 7 fairies in each like little collection, but I want to say there's like 30 at least different like collections. It's a wild ride.
Is that also from kind of back in our childhood, like our youth, or is that a new one? Because I feel like that was kind of the thing back then.
That was in my childhood, and I am 22 years old. So do with that information what you will.
I'm also 22. That's why I asked that question.
Okay.
I think I owned all of Nancy Drew, and then I just could never catch up in the right order. But nonetheless, I loved like those kinds of like magical fun books. That sounds right up my. I would read that right now. That sounds really good. So this is the part where we kind of, if you have any, we ask that you ask us questions if you have any questions. I know I didn't prepare you for that, and I'm so sorry.
Well, how many? You guys just started your book club. Is this? But you've had another meeting. How many books have you guys read together? Did you guys read together before, like doing your IG, or did you just like meet once you started your Instagram?
Like, did we know each other before Bookstagram?
Yeah.
No.
Well, yeah, not Bookstagram, but a lot of us were on the same street teams and ARC teams. That's how most of us met.
Mm-hmm. So we started in what, May? So 5.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I just
and
kind of jumped in and they didn't like hate me, so I stayed.
for all of our members, really, we don't hate you. It's fine. We started on the same street team, the 4 ladies that started this. We started on the same street team, and we're like, I really want to talk to the author. Why can't we just talk to the author? And we made this little really silly reel, and I made a silly reel, and I got like 300 reviews and comments, and everyone wanted a part of it. And then my wonderful friends Sarah, Laura, and Maggie were like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "God, yes." Then we all reached out to everybody, and then we were full for the end of the year to the point where like we've had to turn some people down, and it's been really, really fun though.
So fun.
Awesome.
No one's asked us that. Thank you. It's been a really fun group, and we have applications coming for 2025 if you have author friends that want to do it. Coming out at the end of the month, but no one knows that about you guys here in this group right now. But it's at the end of the month.
Sneak peek.
At this point, I also want to feature Academy of the Dead because I know I'm going to love it.
Oh, it's so good.
I want to
I've
read.
been getting some good feedback. It's like in the early arc stages, so
I have
It's
it
been- it's
downloaded.
been
I'm
fun.
really excited.
I do too. If you want a buddy read, Mary. I was
Yeah,
planning
we
on reading
should.
it
We should.
really soon because what I'm reading right now is not scratching the itch.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's so great.
Let me know when you start it, and I'll start it. the
I
same time.
will. Whenever we get this Sarah face, I'm gonna love it. And I know that because she does this, and she's like, "Oh, I can't contain," and I know I'm gonna love it. That was how she pitched the Fey Hotel.
Yes. Oh my God, I love it so much.
She's like, they're all grumpy.
She loves her grumpy.
I do.
I didn't know that grumpy was going to be such a thing for me.
Yeah, it's so fun.
It's so fun. It's a great thing. I wonder if he was like blonde and short, if it would hit the same. Probably not.
No.
Probably not. I mean, he's literally described in the first chapter as something out of like he looks like a knight. So I immediately sent our chat this sexy AI man. He looks like a knight. And that was when like Sarah was like, she has fan art, and I was like,
Oh yeah.
your character.
Yeah.
There he is.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, so great.
Yep,
Like
I
I
love
said,
it.
that was great.
if he's blonde and short.
Oh,
I
do you have
love-
this one? Do you have the Academy of the Dead one?
I do.
Oh, think.
Yes.
Ooh. I
A
love
goat-
it.
The goatee, the beard moment. Yes. I'm so tired of men. Like someone asked me what my favorite tropes were, and I was like, my least favorite is hairless men. I don't even know what my most favorite is. But I'm gonna tell you right now, when they're like, and his skin was so soft on his chest, and I'm like, get out.
Oh yeah, I don't like that.
What is this? Why are we doing this? You're making them 18 in my brain. That's not cute. Look at Henry Cavill, the sexiest man on the planet, and the man does not shave his chest. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But I mean, the whole grumpy thing, I haven't really experienced. I've had other books in which both characters can be grumpy, much like yourself, but not actually grumpy. And this was really good. We're a little early for our raffle, but we can.
No, just start putting your numbers in.
Okay. So Vermillion, do you have any other questions for us or anything you want to talk about? What's good for you? What's new for you? You got any cons coming up? You got your baby stages of your arcs?
So right now, the Academy of Dead releases October 11th. So right now I'm doing the final like formatting to make it all pretty. Because I do like, I don't know if you guys have the physical copy, but I do like that kind of stuff.
Ooh, that's so pretty.
Yes.
Just like
Yes.
working.
It kind of translated on the ebook, not super, but it was there. Like the art
Yeah.
was, which I really liked.
Mhm.
And so I'm doing that. And then October 27th, I have a book signing at a Barnes & Noble. And then there's like a book signing called Books in the Desert. In November, I'm going to. I live in Arizona, so I just do Arizona stuff. And in May, I'm doing Tea and Tropes, which has like a fantasy ball too. So I'm really excited for that one.
Ooh.
That's so fun.
Yes. What are you gonna wear?
You know, I could wear something because I do have a lot of like fancy ball gowns for no reason.
No reason. Why do you have so many ball gowns?
Well, because I've been to some of these balls before, not this particular one, but I've been to them, and so I have dresses that I bought for that. So I really don't need to buy one, but I probably will.
I mean, if I find a good deal and it's really gorgeous, I'll wear it around my house. That's all right. It does work out. But I have a ball I'm going to this year too, and I'm really excited to like. You're supposed to dress up like a character, not just cute. Is your ball also character driven, or like just you look cute?
It's not character; it's like a dark masquerade. So I think people just be wearing like masks.
Oh, that's so fun.
We all really just want to go to a masquerade ball.
I mean,
All of us. That's what we should do. We should have a retreat with a masquerade ball.
We should.
And palm reading.
And palm reading. For sure. I have pages of futures I didn't get to use, so yes, we will do that. I think I'm going to be a wood witch, but I'm not really sure how to be a woodland witch, but I want to do a woodland witch really bad.
I bet you can find some really cool like tiaras and crowns for that.
Mm-hmm.
I want antlers.
I think you should be like the witch from Princess Bride.
Which?
The one who's married to Billy Crystal.
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife.
Do that one.
It's not quite the vibe. I mean, I got a dress that's real cute. It doesn't quite fit that one. It's gonna be really hot though. I got these cool, these very cool shoes where you can take the heel off and turn them into flats.
Oh, I've seen those.
Yeah,
That's
Do they work?
awesome.
they work great. The only problem is you have to bring something to put your heels in, but it's just those like blocks, and they just snap right off and turn into flats.
That's amazing.
Cool.
Right? I love them. They're called Passion, but Pashion. You get it?
Ooh.
You get it?
Yeah. Nice.
They don't match my dress, but I'm gonna make them work because I don't wear heels. That's just not my thing.
I wear leg braces, so I get to wear super cute and comfortable tennis shoes everywhere that I go. And I know everybody's always super jealous of it because I'm like, yeah, I know those heels suck. I'm comfortable.
You got that right, Holly. So, Holly, I saw you raised your hand. Did you want to ask a question?
I did have a question, if that's okay. I'm usually known for really hilarious questions. So I came up with a serious one for once. What is your absolute favorite like writing rule to break whenever you're writing?
That's a good question.
Can I share something real quick about Vermillion?
Yeah.
I read Vermillion's newsletter. I think it's your newsletter. And you were like, I'm going to edit this book. And if I add more jokes, that's just what I do. And I was like, really goes through and just adds jokes. And I love that.
Yeah. I've already done that a couple times for Academy of the Dead, where I was just like, I think of something silly. I'm like, I'll find a way to fit it in. I know I'm supposed to be like turning in the final files, but I'll find a way to work it in.
If we want to go with the silly one, I mean, I always have my classic. If your main character was a pasta sauce, which one would they be and why?
The sauce.
What would Evelyn be? She'd be something.
Kind of spicy, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess Ellen would have no pasta sauce.
And Casey asked, what made you put the hotel in the Pacific Northwest?
So I used to live in Washington State, and I hiked there all the time. And I'm really not homesick because I'm not from there, but I'm really
nostalgic.
Yeah, nostalgic for that, and I love that setting. And while I was there, I researched a town for to write a book that I didn't end up writing, but I still have all my notes for that area that I explored on my pictures. So I was like, I'm just going to use that as the setting for the Fey Hotel since I already did all the research.
Awesome.
Great setting, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was I think if you're going to put a fairy realm somewhere, you're going to pick the Pacific Northwest. All the ferns and how green it is, and it's wet and quiet, and the trees are huge, and it feels kind of magical already.
Yes, your large stickers on the thermos did not go unnoticed.
Oh. Oh, my little character stickers. That's fun.
I love it.
Well, Laura, do you want to share with us what we have in the box?
Yes. All right. So we have this handmade bookmark from Brown Sugar and Sass, and this has a little castle-looking hotel.
That's so
And
Love it.
I know. It is so pretty. I'm obsessed with it. And then we have an Enemies to Lovers candle from Apothecary 19. Smells absolutely amazing. We have Morley Gray tea from Cliche Teas. And we have a signed book from Vermillion. Thank you so much. And she also included a bunch of goodies in here. So we have bookmarks. We have some character art. Look at that.
Ooh.
I know. And then I have some annotating stuff and all that good stuff too. All right. So our winner today is number 4. That
Nadia.
is, I believe, Nadia.
Woohoo!
Nadia.
Yay, Nadia!
I kind of feel bad because I actually ordered it off Etsy already. So I kind of have the prints and the stickers. But thank you.
Yay. Congrats.
Well, thank you everyone so much, and thank you so much, Vermillion, for joining us. We love your book. We can't wait to read all your other stuff. I know you have super fans here in this group. So if you have anything you ever want to share with us, please do. We'll be very happy to help you out any way that we can. And
Yeah.
anyone else have any questions or anything for Vermillion? Well, have an awesome night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye.
Oh, she's sweet.